Welcome to Heart and Hand, the Rangers podcast, the podcast that is in seventh heaven after the weekend. This week on Heart and Hand, Motherwell massacred. So welcome to Heart and Hand, the Rangers podcast. My name's David Edgar. I am your host, and I'm joined this week by two of the most wonderful people you could possibly spend the next 45 minutes with. Firstly, it's Mr. Alexander Staff.
Hi there, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, my friend. And secondly, it's Mr. Cameron James Bell.
Good evening, boys. Good evening.
Refereeing controversy, and we call him, it's like I said, we throw up a Cammy signal much, and it's like a bat, but a bit rounder.
A fat bat, if you will.
A fat bat, yeah. The fat bat special today. But yes, lad, loads to discuss. Although, Alex, and this is a rarity, but a nice story, I think we will share with the listeners. You missed the game yesterday, but a very wholesome and acceptable reason.
Yes, I did. Yes, I was at a wedding yesterday. So congratulations to the new Mr. and Mrs. Burrow. Some listeners will know Robert Burrow from his days of breaking legs and arms while playing football with us. He's now like a bit of a superstar in his local area for running in rather crazy situations. He's one of those guys that runs through woods with a light on in the middle of the night for just the sake of running.
What, a dogger?
You know? Yeah, well, I imagine he actually scares them a bit as he's running through, you know, charging away, trying to beat however many people doing that. I really don't know what the deal is, but no, I mean, Robert's done amazing stuff over the years, raised a ton of money for charities. It's his wedding yesterday, and given the way the results fell and such like, he can get married every weekend if he wants.
Yes, so if Alex a little bit...
I'm sure Mrs. Burrow will be pleased to hear that.
I could get it keeps him busy, I suppose. But no, congratulations to Robert and a lot of the boys who met up on FF. A lot of the kind of sad singletons who had no friends. You all got together back in the seminary back in the day, Alex, and you were all at the game yesterday. But what a game it was, lads! As Rangers took on Motherwell at Ibrox. Now Motherwell, they've got a bit lippy lately, have they not? And they seem rather full of themselves whenever they come to play us. So if there was a team we could administer a right beating to, they would have been pretty high up my list.
Absolutely. They've been very keen on the physical game, which has got them some degree of success. We have been quite literally victims of that style of play. So it was wonderful to dish out a bit of kind of medicine through not a retort in a similar style, but just brilliant, sweeping, productive football.
Alex, we made a few changes to the lineup yesterday, obviously trying to keep things fresh from Thursday when we played in Moscow. And we'll touch on this because when there's International Week we can't do a Heart and Hand extra. The defending on Thursday night, it wasn't really in keeping with what we've seen from us, because apart from maybe Motherwell, funnily enough, previously, yes, there's been individual errors, but I don't recall this season our defence collectively all having an absolute stinker. Tav was maybe 5 or 6 out of 10, but for the rest of them, they looked as though they'd never played football before in their lives, never mind met each other beforehand.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange night, as you say. And the Motherwell game is the only other one you can compare to it, and that was individual errors. A couple of things that we've since changed in terms of how we defend set pieces that we've got a good bit better at from that day. But it was a crazy match. You're sitting there 45 minutes in, should have been 4-2 to us. It's 3-2. Both sides have missed chances at that point as well, and you're thinking this could finish 5 each, 6-5. It could have went anywhere really. And I think that second half their better experience told, sadly. And that, it was very much they got slightly less shit defensively than we were, and it was that sort of game. So yeah, after that, Gerrard must have been thinking, well, I need to freshen some stuff up at least, or make a couple of changes. He talked before about not playing yourself out of the team. John Flanagan must have come pretty close to that in his last couple of performances.
I feel for John Flanagan in a way because he's not a left back. He's right footed, and it's not easy to do that. But at the moment, I'm just looking at him and I'm looking at Declan John and thinking, might have dropped a bollock here, Cammy.
Yeah, it's difficult because I think I do feel for him in the fact he's playing out of position, but Andy Halliday's played better than him there this season. But I just think we saw against Spartak, they purposely targeted Flanagan. There's obviously the issue with him being able to play in certain pitches, etc. So yeah, I think he's going to really struggle with him in terms of being able to cement that as a place within the first 11 and how he can then retain within the squad, because Tavernier's not going anywhere. He won't ever get a game at right back. So I think it's going to be a difficult push for him.
I think the most frustrating thing for me is that, he's made quite a few mistakes anyway, and as you say, Spartak seemed to be targeting him. Popov on that side was doing quite well against him. The most frustrating thing for me was that, he's playing out of position, but generally if you're a fullback playing out of position, your stronger foot's on the inside, it means you tuck in more. So for that goal, the one that led to the own goal, he's positioning there. Playing out of position wasn't really the excuse, he just completely switched off.
Yeah, he just had a nightmare. I mean, collectively they all did at the back, again with the exception of maybe Tav, but even then there were a couple of errors, and you could point to Goldson. We've since found out has been playing with a chest complaint, not related to his previous heart condition, according to the manager, but still it maybe explains. And Niko Katic, and we'll use Niko Katic as a link to the Motherwell match. That's been probably one of the few low points of the defensive purchases, I think, in that this boy is much better than we've seen in the last game and a half from him, Alex. And is it fitness? Is it confidence? Because this is not the Niko Katic who turned up.
It's not, no. Which leads to a few questions, doesn't it? And it's very difficult to know where this is. The simple sort of explanation that maybe we're overlooking slightly is that, he's just a young kid who is not having, the best of form in his last few games, and he just needs to kind of reset, get his head back in the game a little bit more serious than that. Some people are suggesting that he's lost a bit of confidence or motivation or whatever it may be because he was dropped, in which case I would suggest that that's a problem, because no Rangers player should feel entitled to start, nor should they really collapse to this extent if they do get dropped and then come back in. That you're not good enough for a big club if that's going to affect you that much. I don't know. It looked as though, obviously I wasn't at the game, so I've only watched what was on the 90 minutes on Rangers TV, so I haven't seen everything as such. But some were suggesting that yesterday he looked as though he maybe picked up a knock in the first half, and he was going to actually come off before half time, and that got changed when we made it 3-1. But it looked as though he took a bit of a knock. But whether that's true or not, I don't know. Maybe some fans who were there will have seen that. Suggestions that Tab was over talking to him. There was a message sent to the bench. But his mistake for Motherwell's goal was concerning, because that's basic defending. That's not. He wasn't ripped apart by something really good, really good play or anything like that.
No, it was Bowman, really, for fuck's sake.
I mean, well, there's that for a start, yeah. But in terms of his positioning, his decision making there, that's kind of basic stuff that even at the age of 21, I wouldn't expect him to be doing that. When you're only 1-0 up in that sort of moment, if you're winning a game 3 or 4-0 and he's kind of switched off in that, you try and nick a ball a bit stupidly and you're letting a goal. I can kind of get that. That happens to top players as well. But at that time in the game, he's got to be more switched on than that. And I don't think his age or anything else is an excuse. It was just a very poor bit of defending.
I think he'll come. I think
I would add into that, Davey. Sorry, just as we're talking about, because the points are linked. Because when you watch that goal back, Worrell is marking Main, or he should be, but because of the Katic turn, what's then happened is he's had to commit to it. But Andy Halliday doesn't get himself goal side of Main, which then leads to the goal. So Katic is at fault, in my opinion. But there's still a knock-on effect of that back line hasn't communicated well enough and thought quickly enough to prevent that goal from happening, because Worrell has to commit, he doesn't, and he doesn't do it anywhere enough time, but then Halliday has to step forward and take that marker, because Andy Halliday's got no one behind him. So all he has to do is focus on Main's there for a tap-in from 2 yards out.
I think that Niko Katic will come good again because he's just too good a player, and that's the key thing. I'm a great believer that ability will shine through in the end, so it really is just a case of getting his head right. We had Craig Moore at the Loudon Tavern, and thank you again to Loudon for looking after us superbly on Friday night, and he was talking about the infamous time when Dick Advocaat substituted him after 23 minutes against Kilmarnock on the opening day of the 1999-2000 season. He said, I made a mistake, and Advocaat hauled me off. He hadn't been happy with my performance up to then, and he said he called me in for a meeting on the Monday, and he said, if that's what you're going to give me, that's not good enough. I can't have that, and you won't be in the team if that's the standard you're going to produce. And he said he was looking at me, and I'm thinking, I wonder what is he after a reaction here? And he said, so I'm looking now, I'm going to buy another centre half. And Craig said, he looked at him and said, well, you can buy him, but I'm going to be playing. And he went, that's what I want to hear. Right, show me that then. Don't just make it words, show me that. And of course, Moore went on to have a tremendous season that season. And that's what we need, Alex, from a centre-half playing at Rangers. The idea that you will get knocks and you will be criticised for your mistakes, but come back stronger, come back and prove to us that you're as good a player as we all think you are. We like Niko Katic.
Yeah, the fans have got a real affinity with Katic. It's why this debate between him and Worrell just won't go away. Because the minute one of them has a poor game, the other one's position is heightened, isn't it? You know, we should have been playing him instead. It's why this debate won't go away. We've got a bit of a real affinity with Katic. We like the guy. He clearly likes being here. I think you're right. I think he will come good. He just needs to get those performances, and he has a lot of credit in the bank with us, and what he done when he first came into the team and how well he played to get us so far in Europe and such like. But it doesn't last long at Rangers, sadly. Especially, I don't know if you guys agree, but I think as a fan base, we're more critical of defenders than any other position on the pitch. I don't know if that's the case for every fan, but I feel like our defenders take a lot more stick than any other position does. It's the one that we focus on.
I'd totally agree with that, because we traditionally have been built on good defences, good centre halves, especially leaders back there. And we are not one of these clubs that likes to pretend that we've got to play like Real Madrid 1960 every week. We don't have that shite. We accumulate trophies, and to do that, you need to be solid. And we admire that physicality and solidity and determination. So, no, I would agree with that. I think that we are. But, lads, Spartak wasn't the most positive. That goal, which we've discussed, wasn't the most positive. But we've got rid of all that at the start. So now we can enjoy what was a tremendous attacking performance from Rangers with some beautiful goals yesterday. And it was excellent in the second half in every way, because it was entirely played in the Motherwell half. Rangers kept making chances, kept taking them. And on top of that, Cammy, it was what I want from Rangers, in that the other team were weakened. We get that. 10 men, we'll talk about that in a second. But that counts for nothing if you don't make it count for something. And we did.
Yeah, I think we've spoken before about the reaction from players when we suffer a poor result, whether it's a game we should have won and we drew, or a game that we should have won and we lost. And I think the momentum which finished the first half was absolutely perfect. The double win, if you will, of the red card and the penalty just gave us a brilliant springboard. But what it allowed us to do was be a bit more expressive. And I think that you saw, and Gerard kind of commented on this, a Rangers team which can play like that and was allowed to do so because of the confidence that we had. I know we mentioned on the Patreon site when we did the post-match about the second goal and how it's so crucial for us. And that is probably the shining example any of us can give in terms of how important it is to this team to be able to try and create a lead. And then once you've got that lead, you can hit the afterburners and away you go. And you've got players that are capable of doing that. I appreciate the fact that obviously we did have the man advantage. I'll be honest with you, I don't think that even if Motherwell did have 11 men, they would have been able to keep that under 5, for example, such was our finishing. And there's a big part to that, which I would never want to take away from Rangers, is that aggression, that, right, no, let's keep going for it. And it's good that we've dished out a battering, because I've been waiting for that for a long time.
Alex, I did notice that after the match, Steven Gerrard used in his post-match interview the word relentless 3 times and said at half-time we had drilled into them that they had to go out there and be relentless. And what made me laugh, but also I think is an interesting point, is Gareth McCauley, Scott Arfield, Eros Grezda, all interviewed, all used the word relentless. So I think it's not just been mentioned. I think that they have absolutely driven into them, go out and get goals this half. And that's what you need to do. You need to send statement wins. We need to put these teams in their place when the opportunity is there, because, as I say, Motherwell turned up at Ibrox with a swagger. Well, they won't next time.
They definitely won't next time. They turned up with that swagger. They turned up to wind us up. When you watch it again, Tom Aldred and Peter Hartley at the back. They're patting Morelos in the head after he's not won a foul and all that sort of nonsense. They were there to try and have a bit of a laugh and thought they were capable of doing both that and giving us a game. And as you say, we have very much slapped that right out of them now. If ever a team, do you know that way you quite often see teams encapsulating their manager? If ever a team's ever done that in Scotland, it's this Motherwell side with Stephen Robinson, by the way. It's by far the worst I've ever seen of that, and we've seen some shining examples of it over the years. Martin O'Neill's Celtic side, for example, but this Motherwell team are horrendous to watch and play against, and it's actually glorious feeling for them to be the team that was scalped 7 past, because they are the ones that deserve it the most. The team's clearly hearing the word relentless, as you say, every single day, and they've just proven to themselves they can do it. Against 10 men, that's fine. Doesn't matter. How often do we hear it's harder to play against 10 men?
Well, yeah.
Because, they sit in and make things difficult, and Motherwell are good at that anyway. So we've not allowed them to do that, and some of the goals were absolutely brilliant, I thought, especially second half. And it was 7 going on 11.
Oh, yeah.
There were some great chances that we missed, and a couple of decent saves from our keeper as well. So it wasn't as if you can come away from that and say, we got lucky there because we converted a lot of our chances. Yes, we did, but we were, as Cammy said, set for a 5 or 6 goal show anyway, with the sort of way that we played.
Yeah, we were going to battle them yesterday. I've got no doubt about that. And you're absolutely right when you speak about Motherwell. They're a very unpleasant side, and I would contrast them with Livingston. When we played Livingston and lost, I had very little but praise for Livingston, because Livingston are physical and they play agricultural football, but they're fair. They just do what they have to do with the resources that they have. They work on set pieces. It's not a crime. It's a very good thing to do. It's a big part of the game. They defend really hard. No problem with that. That's what you do. Motherwell are different. Motherwell want to hurt you. Motherwell are sly, and they to hear them complain, Cammy, about Morelos making the most of a tackle. Well, firstly, that's something that's been ignored by the Scottish media. McHugh wasn't booked specifically, or just rather, for that tackle. It was his 4th foul, and Craig Thompson quite clearly pointed out to him, no, you fouled there and there, and he gave him a yellow. He then let him off with another one, incidentally, just a couple of minutes later, where he clearly says to him, you don't have another one in you, next foul you're off. And I can't understand, well, I can, because they're wine and shite bags that can give it out but can't take it. When your tactic is not to be physical and aggressive, but to be violent and dirty and commit fouls and cheat and injure players, to say he made the most of that, maybe he did, but given that you like to stamp on players' knees when they're down, you like to smash people in the face with an elbow and then laugh about it later when he's got a broken nose, fuck you. And, Alfie Morelos made the most of it and your boy got a booking. Diddums. Did the referee not let you kick us off the park? Isn't that a shame? Go and fucking dry your eyes, cunts.
Yeah, I'm absolutely certain that, let's say, for example, he goes through the back of Morelos and then Morelos has to go off injured, which has happened to our players this season, that I am certain he'd have been the first one over to apologise for that. Very much in the same way about how they were pissing themselves laughing in press conferences about broken noses and all the rest of it. Motherwell are thugs. And it's listen, I don't want it to be the case that we can't say that we can't play aggressive football. We touched beforehand on Rangers teams, legends, and great players who played for us. And the amount of times that people we've heard say, teams that come to Ibrox, if we want a fight, we'll give them a fight and then we'll win the game. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. What I don't like is this two-faced attitude towards, he's clearly manipulating the rules. Well, yeah, so are you when you're trying to, as you say, set out to deliberately injure people. And do you know what? I mean, we'll never know, but I'd love it to be the case that Gerrard said to him at half-time, remember, these are the guys who broke your teammate's nose, have got no concerns about injuring you, so you miss significant parts of the season. Go out there and retaliate and rip them apart. And I would love to think you use that as a motivational tool, because that then means it's come full circle for Motherwell, because it's bit them right in the arse.
That's the thing, Alex. Sorry, Cammy, but that's the thing. It's a team who, like I say, they don't play up to the line. Livingston, for example, play up to the line, don't have a problem with that. Genuinely don't. Wish them that. Obviously, I'm in a good mood about Livingston right now, but there is a difference between that and willingly and knowingly not just crossing that line, but running fucking miles away from it and revelling in it. And then to complain when rules are actually applied and you're not allowed to resort to basic thuggery, which is what they were complaining about. Because look, and I never say this, Craig Thompson had a really good game yesterday. Not just he got the big decisions right, but he also, I thought, stamped out Motherwell's cynical tackling early on. He just said to them, no, I'm not standing for this. You're not getting away with all this, the wee dunt when the ball's in the air. You're not getting away with the leaving the foot in. And they went in a huff because they have nothing else.
But we've lost. But the thing is, though, David, through injury, we have lost players like Ryan Jack and Lasana Koulibaly because we didn't have referees who administered those levels of punishment.
Correct.
The application of the rules in the appropriate times in the game. And listen, you're spot on. And I don't know if Thompson said, because with the best will in the world, without getting into referee's corner, it's not Craig Thompson's job to keep players in the park. And effective game management does tell you, okay, so do that again and you're off. Okay, totally get that. We've seen and heard that many a time. But the good thing about it is, though, that he stuck to the rules with that. Whereas plenty of referees, and we have fallen victim of this beforehand, where they said, in the Morelos incident, right, it's not a booking, but, screw the nut a wee bit. No, he booked him. And as you say, rightly, it was for persistent fouling. It was not for the Morelos incident. It was, right, okay, that's it, that's enough. You've had your chance, catch you later on. Booked him, and then, as I say, carried on with the rest of the game. And I think for me, when you see like McGinn at St Mirren, for example, coming back to the Koulibaly one, that should have been dealt with far earlier. I'm sure McGinn, if memory serves, gave, I think it was Katic, a dig in the ribs, which I believe was it should have been the caution that was given, and then the card after that. So he wouldn't have been on the park to injure Koulibaly. And again, we are, absolutely within our rights to turn around and go, we deserve some of these decisions. But do you know what, David? These decisions are not wrong. It's not like we got,
They applied the rules.
The Robert degree.
Yeah.
But actually, we're sitting here saying, this is fantastic, this is hand. This is just business as usual for other teams who don't get controversial decisions given against them. So now we're getting the fair end of the stick, as it were. And we're sitting here absolutely delighted about it, whilst other parts of the media are saying Morelos dived. Horrendous comments from journalists saying that the referees should know better when it comes to Alfredo Morelos, which I'm sure we'll come back to. Penalty incidents ripped apart for whatever reason. It's great to see it, but again, I totally echo your statement. Craig Thompson had a very good game yesterday, and I hope in some parts of the media at least he gets praise for some of it.
Alex, I've never known a Rangers penalty to be given that wasn't controversial. So this one was not any different, according to the media. Look, it's maybe just me, and I've not gone through referee training like Cammy has, and I don't claim to be a football expert. I haven't worked in the industry, anything like that. But that was the stoniest Stonewall penalty kick you will ever see in your life, surely.
You would have thought so, yeah. It's not even one of those ones where it's a challenge between two players, or the angle that the referee's got is not that great, so you can see why maybe he's made a bit of a mistake, or even, as Cammy pointed out, that nonsense of, referees should know better when it's a certain player because they're likely to take a dive. Nothing at all with that. This was as clear as day. He can have no complaints about the penalty at all. I'm not entirely convinced, by the way, that he was booked for the handball, but given what Cammy said and you've said about how Thompson said to him, no more fouls, that's you, it's very possible that he was. It just took a bit of time afterwards, as if he said something, I thought, but maybe I'm wrong. It's clear as day, and all this talk about, we'll mention them because I feel as though he's going to come back up later on as well. But Michael Stewart's comments and trying to use this letter of the law thing to say that wasn't a deliberate handball. How many? Who then has forced that guy's arms to be in that position? Yeah. Who's done that? Because I don't see anybody doing it.
Alex, that's the fundamental. That's why he's a moron. And I mean, Michael Stewart as a moron shocker is not exactly hold the press's story, is it? But no. He's saying, well, it doesn't say anything about where your arms are. It doesn't say, well, firstly, there's this thing called interpretation, you FUD. Secondly, there's guidelines that are issued to referees, which everyone knows about, and as a person working in the media, you absolutely should. But thirdly, what he's saying is deliberate handball. Basically what he means is you need to consciously say, I am going to handball the ball, and Anton Rogan it and punch it or whatever, or stick your hand up and save it like a goalkeeper. It doesn't mean that. It means if you deliberately throw your arms up into a place where it can get hit by a ball, that's a deliberate handball. And the idea behind it, rather obviously, is to stop defenders jumping with their arms out, hoping that if it doesn't hit their torso, it'll hit their arm and they'll get away with it. They are seeking to gain an advantage, therefore it's a deliberate handball. Cammy, you're the ref. Who's right, me or Michael Stewart?
Every part of me wants to say Michael Stewart.
I know, bud, I know.
No, listen, you're 100% correct. And do you know, the real idea with this is, I think, that I don't think Michael Stewart becomes so vociferous in this argument if that challenge was made on the goal line. And what I mean by that is let's move play forward 15 yards, for example, because obviously that where that shot was struck was outside the box. He was just inside it when obviously that challenge came in, but you're also hitting it through a body of players. So let's take it in. So actually the shot's hit from inside the box, the keeper's over towards the left-hand side of the goal. And then, as I say, that attempt at a block is made on the goal line. That's as definitive you can get as a deliberate handball. The other problem I've got with Stewart in this one is he has seen incidences like this. I called it, when we were talking before, the Russell Martin trademark move, where it happened to us last season.
Several times.
Michael Stewart's aware of that. Yeah, but Michael Stewart's aware of that. And what I would say to you is, let's just review those incidents in comparison. And I would have assumed, and I'm not going to torture myself by going back and rewatching that and then having to pull out my ears with his commentary and his punditry after the Russell Martin incident. But I'm fairly certain I don't remember him being so argumentative about the penalties given against Rangers when Martin's handballs were towards, the byline, etc. And I think that this is where, when he's talking about being able to try and apply that as a second, but I do think he does get the booking for the handball. I don't think it's for verbals or anything like that afterwards. So no, I think, like you say, it's clear cut, and it's like you say, Davey. It's a penalty against Rangers. Therefore, it must be picked apart. It must be dissected, etc. The only other thing I would say, just kind of finalising that point we talked about the booking, was I'm pleased. This is just a personal thing. I'm happy to get your take on it, boys. I'm pleased that Morelos did say to Thompson, I don't think he was necessarily going to do a Graham Poll and book him and then keep him in the park. But the applauding of the referee afterwards. As a referee, if he did that to me, I'd probably end up booking Morelos, because it fucking boils my piss when you see players doing that. All I'm saying is...
He's just congratulating him. It's not sarcastic. He's just saying you've got that right. So here, Alfie is trying to make friends, and here you're having a go at him.
Listen, listen. All I'm saying is, any other player, and I hate this because the reputation is undeserved, but Morelos knows he's targeted. He needs to think smarter about what he's doing, and I actually believe when you watch that again, you see... I think who was it takes him away? Was it Jack? Anyway, someone takes him away, and is like, right, rather than not, stop it. But it's just wee things like that as well, because we're sitting here talking about decisions that were given correctly for us. I think we need to make sure that we box a bit clever in terms of how Morelos does that. He deserves to do it. I'm not saying that he doesn't, but he just needs to realise the next time if he gets tackled fairly, which has happened, and not given a penalty, which has happened. You don't want it to be the case. It's because referees get a bit pissed off because it's him. Do you know what I mean? Because he has been targeted, you know that.
Well, I think this ties into a bigger thing, and then Robinson's comments afterwards, gratefully received by a Scottish media that, for whatever reason, and you can believe why it is, I think it's due to two things. One is racism, and the other is he plays for Rangers. And I think that the treatment that he's had as a young black foreign guy in Scotland is appalling. Right from the start, they've looked for something. Remember, it was his hot head at first that after about 2 minutes on the park, they decided he was this and that. They're never going to like him. They're never going to give him an even break. They're never going to give him a fair hearing. So there's a bit of me, while I agree with you in terms of you've got to box clever, there is a bit of me, Alex, that absolutely revels in him going, well, do you know what? Screw you. I'm just going to score lots of goals and my fans love me. You don't count. And I quite like him going, you hate me? You're going to really hate me by the end of this season.
Yeah, I do actually. Michael Beale summed it up best when he spoke about trying to understand Morelos' culture, upbringing, and that South American attitude. Because I've kind of pointed this out before. How many South Americans ever have really settled in Scottish football in the past? It's very, very rare. So we maybe don't see, or we haven't seen it in Scotland enough of it to get used to it. And it's such a different thing. And think about Morelos' upbringing, etc. You can see why. I personally think the clapping wasn't so much at the referee, although I know it was. I get that, and Thompson could have booked him for that, and I wouldn't have been too scathing if he did. From Cammy's point, I would have understood if the referees got a bit wound up by that. I think that came from the fact that the likes of McHugh, Aldred, Hartley were all being absolute dicks to him, and he was revelling in the fact that one of them had just made an arse of himself.
Yep.
And that's where I think that came from. And in that case, I'm loving that. I'm loving that. There's a part of me, and I know that I'm not supposed to like this, because if I see it in opposition players, I tend to hate it. But there is a part of me quite happy that we have a nasty wee cynical bastard up front who is not only that, but he's a damn good player as well. I've seen too many opposition players that are like that have caused us harm over the years. I'm loving seeing us having one for the first time in what must be a long time.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm happy for that to happen. I just think, given where we're at the moment just now in terms of our lack of depth for options up front, we really need to think about where we get the best out of Morelos at the very least until we can bring in reinforcements for him. And that's where, like I say, I just want to make sure that Thompson, for example, doesn't keep that in the back of his head, and then the next time the two of them cross paths or whatever, he then gives him another yellow, because as we know, his cautions are mounting. He is very close to a suspension anyway, and that I think also leads to the fact that, obviously very early on in the second half he came off for Lafferty. It's just wee things like that, like I say, I just want him to kind of keep a wee lid on, because we don't want him missing out on really, really important games for us, and we have several of them coming up between now and the end of the year.
Glenn Middleton and Eros Grezda were great. Discuss.
Yes, they were. Two separate things for me here. Glenn Middleton is starting to... In recent matches, I've been a little bit concerned that he was a bit one-dimensional. And that better players were starting to work him out. Because if you're always just going to pick the ball up and run in very straight lines at someone, eventually, a good professional right back is going to work that out. what I think we saw from Middleton, because we haven't seen him start too often, what I think we saw in both the Spartak match and on Sunday is a player who's learning. You could see that. There were times against Motherwell when he was cutting inside or receiving the ball in the centre, moving off for that win. He's changing his game. In terms of Grezda, I'm very happy with this. I've had more than my fair share of arguments about giving the guy time. Happy with his goals. His overall performance, first half was a bit loose, second half a lot better. What I would say on the flip side is that it's absolutely fine to still say we need to wait and see with Eros Grezda, because it was the second half against a 10-man Motherwell where we were already 3-1 up. And I'm not trying to take anything away from how well he played. I thought he was excellent. Even first half, he had a couple of good moments as well. His cross for Morelos for the header, for example. But second half, he looked brilliant. But what we need from a player, and I think Grezda's type, the type of player he is, and he's not like a Kent or a Middleton. He won't beat players running at them all the time, but he likes to get in the box. He likes to get shots off early. He is going to score goals. We need a player like that. Whether or not he's good enough is still to be proven, and we need to see it in a kind of tighter match. Something that's not as open as that became, which tends to suit attacking players. So I think it's fine if you're still in the undecided camp. What I was really pleased about was the fact that we got to see what he is capable of, or a little bit of what he's capable of, and he gets some confidence from that, because ultimately we all want him to succeed, whether you think he's going to be a player or not. We all want him to be, don't we? So yeah, it was nice. He was second half, he looked really, really good. That ball across Middleton's goal, in fact, everything about it.
That finish as well. Just tremendous. Middleton's got 5 already, so clearly this is a boy who can finish. So great to see. But Cammy, while I agree with what Alex said there, I still think occasionally you just need a breakthrough performance, and it doesn't really matter how or where it comes, just as long as it does come reasonably early in your career at Ibrox, just to get the fans saying, okay, yep, there's a player in there. And he hadn't had that yet. Obviously, injury had stopped him doing it. Whereas now he's got that thing where he's put into people's mind, look, I can actually do this. I'm quite good. Give me some time. Because there were a few voices starting to say, haven't seen anything from him. I agree, unfairly, but still, it doesn't change the reality of the situation. Whereas now they'll go, well, okay, right, good. I can see what you're supposed to do. And it gives them a platform to build from.
I mean, it does. And I think... Alex is 100% spot on. I think what you need to look at for me is, from Grezda's perspective, it's a great chance for him to now put some of that lost time through injury behind him, capitalise on the opportunities he's been given, the performance that he put in, because he was very, very good. It's easy, I know it sounds a bit silly, but it's also easy to hide in a 7-1 game. You can be, about par, and other guys can take the limelight. And Grezda absolutely grasped a hold of that opportunity. Middleton, the manager, spoke after the game about his attitude, the fact that he stays after training. Sometimes Gerrard has to haul him in because he wants to stay out, he wants to continue to do things. We know his journey, obviously, in terms of he is very focused in his own development, will do things which require further training and further development, and he's very, very conscious of that, probably very mature for someone at his age, which is great. I think the goal for me, Middleton's goal, I beg your pardon, for me was absolutely fantastic. The finish itself was sublime, which is what we kind of said before about, I think even with 11 men, Motherwell would have been able to stop us with that kind of level of finishing anyway. I don't think that goal comes when you're 1-0 at home down against Aberdeen. I think that the confidence was there, but if the confidence was there, so is the ability. And that, for me, is what I would say to both of them is, you were given that opportunity. You've shown us that you have that ability. Now it's about how do we best harness that and use it to the betterment of the team. I think, for me, it was literally a coin toss between the two of them as to who was man of the match. I know that's tough in our field.
Who was very good. I just
think he was, and again, like you say, this is what I'm saying to you. You can't hide in maulings. You can do this, but we had several players who, for me, were excellent.
Jack was another one. Macaulay looked great when he came on. Yeah.
I just think for those two, in terms of Middleton and Grezda, I think for me, it's a coin toss between who was man of the match. I know obviously Grezda got it, But I'm just very pleased for Middleton. I think the last thing I would say to him as well is his set piece delivery was superb.
It was,
and that is something again, which gives us another option, because I know that Tav's been struggling with that recently in terms of his corners and free kicks and stuff.
It was just a great day, a lot of fun at Ibrox. The crowd were happy, and a team that we hugely dislike were put to the sword dramatically. So great stuff, and more of that. And obviously with the 2 points that Celtic had dropped, that had gave us a good opportunity and leaves us in a pretty good situation to be coming back and really getting stuck in after the international break. Now, last week, the latest came out about the Celtic paedophile court case, where Jim Torbett was jailed for 6 years for sexually abusing young boys in his care, and that has caused a bit of a storm in Scottish football for some people, because obviously a lot of people would rather just ignore it and hope it goes away, including Celtic themselves. And some of the tweets from victims and comments from victims are absolutely heartbreaking. But in a Rangers context, one of the things that has been spoken about a lot is, you're just point scoring. And to talk about it is somehow wrong. And we're not allowed to talk about it because we have a vested interest. We don't like Celtic, therefore we're gonna complain about them. Well, firstly, I don't like sex offenders from any walk of life, so I don't think I'm being hypocritical here. But secondly, even if it is just point scoring, even if it was, which it isn't, Celtic have got no right to complain about any other club, especially ours, having a go at them, because for at least 6 years, but longer, but certainly for the last 6 years, they have set themselves up as the moral arbiters of Scottish football. Or what about the face painter? Or what about the hospitals? How can you live with yourself? You're not contrite enough. You're not sorry enough. And all the while, we knew what their rancid club had covered up for 30 years. So now that it's coming out, for them to turn round and spout the excuses that they are, sorry, it's separate to us. Well, hang on a minute, you tell us we're dead. You tell us that a football club is all-encompassing, that you can't have separate areas of it. You can't have a club and a company. Oh no, but it's different. It's different. And take a step back. If you're a Celtic fan who's willing to defend them to the hilt on this, I get club loyalty, I really do, right? And while you just need to listen to the old shows, was really uncomfortable with what Rangers did, then we were punished for it and we moved on. But you cannot look to explain away, excuse, or try and wiggle out on a technicality child abuse. Now, it can happen that it's horrible, but it can happen that a paedophile, these people are evil and they will worm their way into positions. That can happen. That's not Celtic's fault. Nobody is having a go at you because Jim Torbett existed. The reason people are having a go at you is because you rehired him, you didn't phone the police, and then you covered up for 30 years and you still haven't apologised or compensated the victims. One of the victims was on Twitter last week, and in his words, Celtic have told him to fuck off. That is why people are having a go at you. And due to the fact that you set yourselves up as the moral arbiters of everything that was good and true and just in Scottish football, and you were so pious and you were so holier than thou, people are going to have a go at you because of that. Do the right thing, force your club to do the right thing, and stop trying to blame us for being angry that you covered up sex abuse. Alex?
Their point scoring argument it's a fundamental fallacy. It's the whole ad hominem thing, isn't it? They attack the person saying it rather than the argument itself. So if a Rangers fan does make that point and your attitude is, or your response is, they're just point scoring, you're not engaging with the argument. You're not in any way defending the position that you're taking, or in any way showing that the point being made by that person is wrong. It's a very poor way of arguing. It's a very social media way of arguing, isn't it? Try and turn someone else into the bad one through supposed character flaws, rather than actual debate. So in that case, the point scoring point is one that I have very much ignored because it's, to me, rather irrelevant. Yes, you're right. They cannot have spent as much time as they have making so much noise about the morality or supposed lack of in Scottish football, and then go hiding on this one. I have no issues with any Celtic fan who is still going to be a Celtic fan after all of this. That's not what we're talking about here. But anyone, I actually think you've got to take football out of this in many respects, because it's not, it's happened in football, but it's not about football. It's bigger than that. It's much bigger than that, in fact. And those individuals that were involved in this, everybody should want them chased. Everybody should want to know exactly what happened here and get justice in any way they can. I don't believe there's any such thing as full justice here, but there's certainly far more that can be done than has been. And even as this has come to light, there's a million times more that could have been done. So as I say, forget loyalties and the tribalism of football and all that sort of stuff. That none of that should come into this at all. All that's being asked here is, and very, very appropriately asked, is what the hell was going on? It's such a big institution in Scotland, as much as we hate to say it, they have allowed this to happen, covered it up, and seemingly, if the evidence that's been out there so far is any indication, encouraged it. They haven't just allowed it and then went, we made a mistake there. They then brought that back, and they tried to rehire another in the middle of the 90s who had already been convicted of this. This is not something where we're looking at a situation where they made some mistakes in their hiring policy, because they wanted them back in to the club again. So, all the individuals involved in all of that should surely be getting some serious investigation, and anyone of a right mind should be asking for that. So to then turn around when you do, regardless of who you are, to then turn around when you do ask for that and say, you're just point scoring. This actually links to something I wanted to say earlier as well. If there's any Motherwell fans listening, you'll think that our appraisal of your team was a bit sour grapes. I know fans of all Scottish football teams, everybody hates you, right? That's the case with Motherwell. Everybody thinks exactly the same as we said earlier about your team. In this case with Celtic, everyone, including yourselves, should be asking what the fuck happened here and what needs to be done to bring justice to the victims of it, because that's ultimately all that matters.
Cameron?
There's an old saying in Scotland that the one thing that Rangers fans and Celtic fans have got in common is that they both love talking about Rangers. This has nothing to do with us, and I don't know as to why. I mean, I fail to see the link between the pettiness of responding to Celtic fans who have done and still play it to this day. The Zombie Nation is a direct link to us whenever they score. It's their obsession with us feels like as if it's the anchor that wants to pull us into this entire tragedy. And I don't use that word often, but it is a tragedy in terms of what happens. And the best thing that every Rangers fan can possibly do at the moment is just say this is an absolute horror which your club have been complicit in for 40 years. There are a lot of victims who have had their lives ruined as a result of what's happened. Everybody in Glasgow knows that it's been an open secret for 4 decades. Celtic managers have known about it, spoken about it, written about it, but only, none of them have taken action on it. Apart from one who was then punished as a result of it. The main thing with this, more than anything else, is listen, I totally agree with Alex, right? So the football side of this has nothing to do with it, all right? I don't think I know any Celtic fan, and I don't, and I know a number, who's going to turn around and say, if Celtic came out tomorrow and said, we did wrong, we did nothing about this, we can't say what happened previously because that was the past and where we are at the moment. But we will take accountability for this. We will support these people. We will deal with this. And whether that's financially, emotionally, any kind of form of support structure, I don't think any of those Celtic fans would consider leaving Celtic. I don't think they would actually turn around and say, I'm not interested in supporting a club any longer that openly has supported paedophilia. But the thing is, though, this is what disgusts me about Celtic's approach to this, is this layered head in the sand approach where we've denied it, let's just continue denying it. And now all of this is obviously now, unveiled. I mean, it's unveiled evidence, but I think the vast majority of us knew about it anyway. It's just been brought to the fore. Celtic can't remove themselves from the boys' club. They can't pretend that they were a separate entity. There are continual links between the football club and the boys' club, between Celtic and Torbet, even moving away from the actual involvement of Torbet within the mainstream club itself, Hugh Butt within the club itself, money to the trophy centre over a number of years, being involved back to the club for presentations. All of this stuff comes out to the light. And do you know what? And I will be controversial for a moment. If Celtic came out tomorrow and just opened their hands up and just said, we have made egregious errors here, we have made absolute fundamental failings on a human level about how we have dealt with this and how we are going to deal with it is going to shape how we can possibly make reparations for how we have let down the victims and their families, I would massively respect that. Because it shows a degree of an accountability which they are desperate to avoid owning up to, because they want to continue the party line of, it wasn't us, that was something different to us, we don't know what's going on, and this whole wasn't me gov is not going to wash any longer. And I think everyone also knows that they are going to have a PR media blitz in order to ensure that their name keeps out of it. And anyone who was following that Torbet trial never saw the name Celtic attached in any connotation until after the conviction. Yet everyone knew about it. So Celtic should just come out now and say, we have to be able to deal with this. We have to be able to support the victims. I'm not necessarily talking about payouts and all that kind of stuff as well. I'm talking about, yes, there obviously will be part of that if people then start raising civil cases and whatever else have you. It's just to turn around and go, listen, we have made massive errors here. We take responsibility for it. We accept it. This is how we move on. And Celtic are actually doing everything they can to avoid doing that. And that, for me, is just, it's subhuman in terms of their approach to this. There is no decency in how they are approaching this whatsoever. It's like as if you can't be disappointed anymore because now you just come to expect it. There should be no points going from this. Rangers fans should not talk about this. This does not impact us. I get that there's a little bit of a kind of joie de vivre about going back to Celtic fans who have rubbed their noses in it. But do you know what? We've done this podcast for long enough through those banter years who have then said, yes, this has been absolute shit. We've missed due diligence. We're doing it now. We've learned our lesson. We were punished. We dealt with that punishment. We accepted all of that and we came back, and we are still continuing to come back, and those glories will taste probably sweeter than very, very many have in the past. However, Celtic need to turn around now and seriously think about how they look at this now. And I can't see it, David. I can't see them reversing their position.
They're not going to change because they are so used to, and they take such great comfort in their piety, and they take such great comfort in, as I say, this otherness, this moral superiority that they can't envision. And also because of a very good PR campaign over the last 20 years, they are untouchable. They feel they're untouchable, but they're maybe untouchable within sport. Alex mentioned this transcends sport. This goes beyond it. There's evil, and if you are part of denying the victims justice, you are complicit. It's as simple as that. Okay then, tough to transition, but we have to, so we'll just go straight into it, with apologies for having to. But we like to end on a more upbeat note. And that's when we like to look around the world of sport and see who has said something or done something so utterly stupid that it could have came from the mind of John Hartson. I had the misfortune to hear John Hartson punditry last week before the Rangers-Spartak Moscow game. You'll like this, lads. He was asked, what do you think the aims of the two Scottish clubs are tonight? He said, well, they'll both be looking to either win or get a draw. And that's sensational analysis from him. He got paid for that. But he can't win it because it would break the internet. So, Alex, who has said or done something so stupid that he's made a total Hartson over?
Well, over the past few times I've done this, we've went a bit further afield, and I think it's been a bit less Hartson-y and just a bit more crazy. So this one I decided to go right to this, the kind of heart of it, which is essentially who has said something so stupid, because that's what we're looking at here, aren't we? And I'm going to pick one that I was surprised by, because I tend to like the guy and I tend to defend him a bit more than I should. But he's got to win this at some point, and that's Mr. Jose Mourinho. After what I believe, because I didn't see the game, and I know you guys have, I believe that Man City won 3-1 going on 10-1. Right?
And the goal, the Gundogan, Cammy, I didn't see it till late, obviously being at Ibrox, and then I was watching Match of the Day too, and I text Cammy to say, have you seen the Gundogan goal? He went, not yet. When you're watching it, it's probably about an hour. I'm like, get back to me. He came back, he went, well, that's just fucking ridiculous, isn't it? It was...
It's just poetry watching it.
Honest to God. It's like 360 passes and then they just decide they'll go and score. It was ludicrous. I mean, when he scored it, I actually said out loud, fuck off, because it was just so magnificent. And it was one of those goals, people had told me about it, then I saw it, and you go, oh, it's a good goal. I don't know why everybody's getting up. Yeah, no, this was supreme. We talk about PlayStation football. This was like supercomputer NASA PlayStation football.
Well, that might even add to the ludicrousness of this even more. Jose Mourinho, after the game, has said that if he could have started Marouane Fellaini from the bench, he would have won the game. Now, Marouane Fellaini started the game and allegedly didn't have 90 minutes in him, but Jose Mourinho fully believes that had Marouane fucking Fellaini come off the bench 2-1 down, Man City would have been worried and they would have went on then to win that game. Now, you guys have just described to me the way that Man City were able to carve through them for that third goal. By all accounts, from what I know from Man United. Now, I'm of the opinion, guys, I don't know if you agree. See, if you're playing against a team and they've made 45, 50 passes and then they go up the park and score, as much as that is great from their perspective, that is horrendous. That's not competitive. That should not be happening. After 20 odd passes, you should be booting someone.
Yeah, you should be fouling somebody. He put that down to fatigue. He said that's because his players were tired after winning.
Yeah. So if Man City were able to run around them that much, I'm not entirely convinced the sight of Fellaini's big dome coming on the pitch would have been the thing that would have tipped them over the edge at 2-1 and made them suddenly unable to play. So as I say, I defend Mourinho a lot. I think he's great entertainment a lot, but in this case, that is very much a comment from the mind of John Hartson.
No, I can't disagree.
If you watch, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not decrying it because listen, it was absolute football sex. But Man United players, when you watch that, I think it's something like 46 or 47 passes or something. But Man United are purposely trying to stay within a formation and not close them down, which is obviously something that Mourinho has told them to do, which is anti-Fellaini. He wants to get right in players' faces. He wants to, harry them for the ball, all that kind of stuff. And obviously it's containing them. And the worst thing about it was, and again, when David and I were talking about this last night, there was a point, literally the last kick of the game, pretty much where Raheem Sterling is doing step overs. And Alex is a good defender, and he will know when a player starts doing that to you, you slice him in half when he starts doing that to you, especially when you're 3-1 down with 4 seconds to play.
Yeah, I'm one of those negative ones actually who, if my teammates start doing that, if you're winning a game heavily and your teammates start doing that, I'll get pissed off because invariably, someone's going to go out and kick you. And it never usually is the person who's been taking the piss who gets booted either. It's usually one of his teammates that ends up getting injured because that guy was being a dick. And that happens at all levels. I know it sounds cynical, but I get frustrated when I see that and I see teams just carving through and that level. Do you guys remember? It was a Monday Night Football years ago, and I think it was Gary Neville was absolutely ripping. It was back when Rodgers was manager of Liverpool and they played Arsenal. And the two teams had just sat there and kind of played in front of each other, and there was nothing to it. And he was on Monday Night Football, absolutely he was going mental about how, this might look pretty to some people, but this isn't football because there was no tackles getting in, no one cared, no one, there wasn't challenges getting in the air for headers and people battering into each other. That's football. As much as sometimes we talk about Motherwell taking over the line and all that, still needs to be a bit of that in any game.
Right.
I get his point about, Flaney coming off the bench, but ultimately, Jose, come on, you're taking the piss there. If you'd maybe been able to say, if I had Cristiano Ronaldo to come off the bench, I think I'd change the game, then yeah, but Marouane Fellaini, come on. That's like us saying if we'd brought Big Sadiq on against Spartak Moscow, we'd have won the game, let's be honest.
Well, given the way things were going in that crazy game, he probably would have ended up with a hat-trick. But a fair point, and I must admit, when I heard we couldn't get the ball off them because we were fatigued, I thought, oh, right, yeah. Cameron?
Well, it's been difficult not to say Michael Stewart, but it would be lazy to do so, because I think Stewart should win this regardless, so I have to nominate him. I think he's going to probably beat my nomination, maybe yours, David, maybe Jose. I will give a little bit of credit to Michael Stewart, because it must be difficult to see past his Venus Flytrap eyelashes, which are just the worst thing in the world. Do you know what I mean? I hate them. Anyway, I'm not picking Michael Stewart, he's too easy to target. So I'm going to agree with Alex. We have went quite far afield with some of these beforehand, and he brought it quite close to home. I'm going to bring it even closer, and I'm going to say that my Hartsons of the week, plural, is the Heart and Hand podcast. Now, here's the controversial discussion that we're going to have, and actually we're all part of this, chaps, because if you remember, after the St Mirren game,
yes,
we were all talking about Daniel Candeias being sent off. It was a travesty of justice. It was, an absolute disgrace, etc., etc. However, we completely forgot that with the refereeing conspiracy to give Rangers every possible advantage, the reason as to why Brother Colum sent off Candeias was to allow Grezda to start, and then won man in the match.
It's a fair point. Fair point. Well done, Brother Willie.
I'm going to nominate us as Hartsons of the last week, because we contested that decision without realising that Colum was actually trying to give us a sporting advantage for the next game, despite the fact that the win against St Mirren was already in the bag. We haven't had the foresight like he has had to see that advantage, and as a result of that, I'm going to nominate us for Hartsons of the week, because we should have been able to see that, given how pro-friendly and pro-Rangers our referees are,
yes,
that in actual fact he was doing us a favour when it looked like an absolute calamity at the time.
Fair point. I can't give it to us, because that's just so self-contained, and I can't give it to Michael Stewart because I think he would probably actually think it was a good thing. He'd just hear the word award and
turn up,
and I can't. I can't have him here. God, can you imagine Michael Stewart and co-winning? Vote SNP ripped to death within second. No, it just wouldn't. He would act. Maybe we should bring it to co-winning, because the amount of Union Jacks that are up round the place, I think would break his wee heart. So, no, Jose, rather, as I've been told I should pronounce it, Jose Mourinho, strolls away with it this week. I understand you've got to. I understand you've got to try and pick the positives out of it, but don't make yourself look stupid while you're doing it. I was disappointed he didn't book Pep in the balls. His usual deflection techniques of start a Rami, just get them talking about something, anything else. So that one that's so Jose, to make yourself look stupid rather than, as I say, setting fire to a ball boy or running onto the pitch and getting your balls out. I've been reading a wonderful book which I recommend to people about Barcelona and Real Madrid by Jonathan Wilson. It's about Cruyff and how he influenced Mourinho and Pep and whatnot. And there's a brilliant story about Louis van Gaal, who is genuinely mental. He apparently secured his sacking from Bayern Munich when at the launch of his book he turned round and threw a copy of it to his bosses Karl-Heinz Rummenigge and Uli Hoeneß and said, read that, you might learn something. No smile. Right, genuinely meant it. He broke his leg trying to demonstrate how to do the high jump at a school reunion. He was 57 at the time. Yes, bluttered. But my favourite one was he was trying to demonstrate his concept of cojones. He wanted his players in the second half of a match to show more balls. They hadn't shown enough balls. And to demonstrate his point, he took down his trousers and his underpants and waved his genitalia in the face of a startled Luca Toni. So, a wonderful, wonderful man. Okay, folks, thank you.
Look at me too.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very, very much for joining us today. We've thoroughly enjoyed it. We will be back next week. No Heart and Hand Extra this week because of international football. We will put out a show from our Patreon site. So you will have something to listen to. And if you want to catch up on our Patreon site, it's just $1.99 per month and you will get all sorts of wonderful content, some amazing stuff going up there just now. And it's not just me, it's not just Alex, not just Cammy, there's loads of stuff. You will thoroughly enjoy it. For instance, just the other week we had a wonderful interview with Andy Gray talking about Rangers, and you may have seen over the weekend Andy's quite happy to talk about Rangers. So loads of stuff on there, just $1.99 per month. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. Christmas is coming and the goose is getting fat, but not as fat as your mother, who remains a fat cow. And if you want to punish some members of your family with some shit presents, heartandhand.co.uk has got a selection of utter bilge that you can get your hands on for reasonable amounts of money, so you don't need to feel guilty. Give them a t-shirt, give them a mug. When they look disappointed, go, it was 13 quid, and you walk away unscathed. With that, just time to thank my producers in London, Mr. Mike Lee and Mr. Paul Myers, and to thank my two wonderful guests. First of all, the lovely Mr. Cameron and James Bell.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Alex. A pleasure as always.
The stupendous Mr. Alexander Staff.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And I'll be back next Monday. Till then, take care. Cheers. Bye.